All right, hello. We're going to take a look today at Chapter 22, Section 2, Forces Shaping the Modern Middle East. And we'll certainly do some discussion, some classroom activities on the Israeli-Palestinian conflicts that are ongoing through today with the recent skirmishes between the Hamas group and Israeli soldiers in Palestine. So those are some of the issues we'll be tackling this unit. We're going to look at diversity. What was that all about? We do that again.
What number is that?
I don't know. It's got a little laugh in
Did you do that?
there. I guess. I don't know. I must have put that in
No, you remember it. You did.
there. Yeah, I must have. Okay, so
Are you going to
these are
keep it
some of the
at?
questions we're going to look at. Yeah, of course. As far as diversity and nationalism, most people are obviously of the Islamic faith, which we oftentimes call Muslims. But there are Jews, of course, in Israel. They're surrounded by all Muslim countries, which has created quite a bit of challenges for them over the years. And there are some Christians as well in this region. The strong bond, though, in this whole region is the Muslim faith, which even crosses national boundaries and more so than nationality. The Arab nations opposed making the European colonization of the Arab countries, and we now have most of the Arab countries are free from British or other colonial control, and has recently been attempts at pan-Arabanism, bringing all the Arab countries together and unifying them. Most recently, Muammar Gaddafi of Libya had tried that before he was ousted in 2011 and assassinated. The creation of Israel in 1948, the modern state of Israel was born, and it was created. The Arabs rejected this immediately and began war against Israel. Almost immediately after the creation of the state of Israel, the neighboring countries attacked. And ever since then, it's been ongoing battles back and forth between the modern state of Israel, and the Arab neighbors. The first war, um, right after they were created, was won by Israel, and they even took over more area, including the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt and Gaza and the West Bank. So these areas, Sinai Peninsula has since been given back to Egypt, but today, because of the various wars with Israel, and they were able to win all of them, the Israelis have now taken over the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, which are hotly contested by the Palestinians. And as a matter of fact, the Palestinians claim that all of the country of Israel belongs to them. Depending on which group of Palestinians, the more radical ones want to eliminate Israel as a state, and others would like some territories back. So these are the situations today. The wars all the way up through 2004, and now at the recording of this video in 2014, there has been several weeks now of fighting between the Palestinians and Israeli military forces under the leadership of the Prime Minister uh, Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel. So the government of most of them are authoritarian Islamic regimes. Some are by kings, Saudi princes, for example, and kings. Most of their economic well-being is based on oil-rich countries, and many of them are dependent on one or two major exports. So crude oil is the main OPEC countries, many of them in this region. But now with the United States producing much of its oil through fracking and other techniques, this part of the world is tenuous economically, wondering how much we will continue to depend upon them for the oil supply. Water is another resource. From a Christian viewpoint, we see how God has placed much oil but not much potable water in this region, and that has really shaped. We see as Christians how the history is shaped by the resources or the lack of resources that God uses to help shape that and to form interdependence of countries as we continue on further in time. There was an Islamic revival, of course, and it's still ongoing today. And during this revival, some of the Islamic leaders looked to the West for ideas of Western democracy, economic advancement and progress, and social justice. Others stayed strictly to Sharia or Muslim legal law and developed repressive regimes on their people, such as the Taliban, which we discussed earlier. Also, much has been talked about in the media lately as far as the role of women in Muslim countries in this region. Many have no rights at all, no right to own property or hold jobs or to really drive a car or anything. Other more liberal Muslim countries, such as Turkey, do allow women quite a bit of the same rights and possibilities as Western countries do. But more strict conservative Muslim kingdoms like Saudi Arabia and Iran are opposed to any rights by women. So these are some topics we'll definitely be covering more in depth.